Live.
Whatever you're ready.
We're live, folks.
We'll now call the,
Wait, one second. Sorry. Okay, now you are.
Thanks, man.
we'll now call the August meeting of the City of Plattsburgh Infrastructure Committee at 5 p.m. Have a roll call of members. Councilor Canales.
Here.
Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Councilor Moore here. Mayor Rosenquist.
Here.
All right, at this time, approval, accept a motion to approve the minutes of the June 7th infrastructure meeting. Motion by Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Canales. Any discussion? If not, all signify by saying aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Okay, we'll now move to our resolutions, and first resolution 2.1. Resolution authorizing revising capital project H5110.78-21 public service buildings. Entertain a motion to approve that. Councilor Canales. Second. Okay, Councilor Kelly, second. Okay, is there any discussion on this one?
Yeah, the total project cost for this capital project increased. Same model as before, a third out of the water, sewer, and general funds. This goes in hand with the next resolution, which will approve the project itself, or certainly award the project. But this is going back to the beginning of the year, the approval for a new heating system in the DPW building.
Can you help us understand why the price went up so much?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you good, I guess.
Council, a couple of reasons. Number one, what we had last season when we shut down both heating systems in the main building and our HEO building, sectional cast iron boilers, vintage was 1996. So we shut them down. They're push nickel boilers. We had leaks in the end sections. That's basically, you're looking at tearing apart the boilers completely and rebuilding if you wanted to reuse them. So the heating systems themselves, the rest of the building, the piping, the heat outlet units, unit heaters, what have you, are in good condition. Budget pricing for that is really just a shot in the dark. It was a guess. We called in, so we put in, I think, $200,000 in the capital budget. That was something that a number that we generated based on an educated guess. I'm not going to lie to you. We did not call a consultant in for this, but we did go ahead. Under the first portion of the project, we had a consultant, which is AEDA, and I think we sent you an attachment. They designed based on replacing only the heat plants, which would be the boilers, the pumps, everything in the boiler room, and then a little bit of replacement of the glycol, the heating systems. We put it out to bid. Right away, with the COVID shortages or the slowdown to equipment, we recognized that a couple of things, the prices were going to go up, and also problems getting equipment. Last week, I believe, or the week before, we sent a PO out. We bought the equipment directly ourselves to try to cut down our lead time, or I should say expedite the project. 12-week lead time for boilers right now. So that puts us into October in the heating system, heating season. So increase in price, basically a bad budget estimate. It was not knowing what it was going to cost for this equipment. And also the simple fact that escalation clause or escalation in the price of the equipment and specialties.
So one other question that may have already been explained, but I didn't catch it, is we're upping the amount for the capital project to $380,000.
Correct, sir.
It looks like the bid that was about to be awarded tonight is for $238,000.
Correct. So we,
What's the difference there?
of the original 200,000, 22,000 went to design. And then there was $92,000 in equipment. We direct purchased the equipment off of OGS contract
Okay,
and we spent 22,000. So that's $110,000 plus or minus.
yeah,
And so the balance of they were increasing it would cover the contract of the installation by the
Oh,
electrical
okay.
plant company.
okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right,
And like I said, normally it's not a great practice to purchase the equipment because we own it. So we're gonna own the warranty period. Usually it's a 1-year warranty. But because of, again, the 12-week lead time on boilers primarily, but we package the boilers and hydronic specialties, which are pumps, air separators, triple duty valves, all those type of things that go along with the heating system. Just trying to do every little thing we can to have the heat back on in time for this fall or winter.
well, was that your motivation to go ahead and purchase the equipment? Was to
Absolutely.
Just have it sitting there when the.
It won't be
Contractors.
sitting. We're actually gonna be waiting for the equipment. We're gonna have to make a judgment call on when to tear it apart. When I know the equipment is in the factory in production, then we'll tear this apart. Right now, we're keeping one boiler hot. If I turn it off, it leaks. Basically, it'll dump everything on the ground.
Oh, boy.
And then the other boiler was on the same route. It's the nature of again, this is the maintenance that's been ignored for a long period. And it's actually not maintenance. They just wore out. There's no
Yeah.
maintenance. The one good thing about the project, by replacing the old sectional cast iron boilers with these, they're called modulating or condensing boilers that you see everywhere now, going to be better efficiency.
Absolutely.
They're not gonna fire at such a high rate, so on a warmer day, they're not gonna have to burn as much natural gas.
Is that gas powered?
Natural gas, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you.
That's a
Mike.
hot water system, right? Like, not-
Yeah, it's
not oil,
It's the brewing, isn't it?
Hot water,
yeah, it's hot water, that's correct.
that's good.
We did look into going with radiant tube heaters in the buildings and switching it over completely to maybe not do a hot water system, but you were talking running an all new gas piping throughout the whole building to all of them. You've seen those big radiant tubes that shine down, but it was just too much. I wanted to keep it localized. There was nothing wrong with the hardware we have currently.
So you're gonna be able to use the heaters at the endpoints.
Yes, all the piping will stay in place all throughout the building. All the heaters will stay in place. They're gonna do a little bit of work on those with air vents and some valves. But nothing else is gonna change. Everything will stay there.
Well, thank you so much, Mike.
Yep. You want me to stay, might as well stay here because you're gonna.
Yeah, I
ask
was
me.
just gonna say. So is there any further discussion on that item? If not, Councilor Canales,
Yes.
Council Kelly,
Yes.
Council Moore, yes. Mayor Rosenquist?
Yes.
Okay, next item. 2.2, draft resolution authorizing the award of DPW and HEO building heating systems.
Motion. Second.
Any
Pretty much
discussion?
as discussed, this is the award of that contract.
LH LaPlante, are they a local firm?
Yep, we had there were 4 potential bidders locally that I would know of. Jay Hogan and Elisha Plant did the job. The bids are both within $20,000 of each other. We sent the review from the Sultan over with the resolution. So, yeah.
We don't have a, Dean, we don't have a preference, award preference for local companies, or New York companies or Clinton County.
Well, let's say that, revise that, we could have those environmental preferences, which you could extend that to say the least distance traveled, or you know,
Right.
you tie that together, but not direct.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? Sounds like the heating system wore out. Okay, at this time, I think we could just, to move it to the agenda, we could just do ayes and nays, so. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Move to the regular agenda. Okay, various project updates.
Okay, yep, we'll give you a quick rundown. Obviously, we have paving season. So year to date, we've completed White, Standish, George, Water Alley, Ruger Street, Adirondack Lane. We did Bailey Ave and Palmer Extension last week. Very successful. Those are, Ruger and Bailey were really time sensitive with the schools and the college. So we pushed to get those done. Coming up, we're going to make another run next week. We're going to try for Joyce, Lincoln, Marcy, Tremblay, and Hillcrest.
That's a lot.
Well, yes and no. Bailey Avenue, to give you an example, was 1,400 ton of asphalt. Those streets I just listed, the 5 below total probably about 1,500 ton. So, and then the last run will be probably sometime in September. We're going to do Riley and Oliver Court. So that'll put us to 16 streets this year. Andrew and I took the time, actually, building inspector's office asked us for some information for permit for people to apply for permits at that street opening. They wanted to know the paving projects we've done over the last 5 years. And we've done this will be 46 streets?
47 by the completion of this year.
46. Wow. So if people say we're on paving roads, we're paving roads. I'm going to turn over now to Andrew. He's going to let you know what's going on up at Cogan.
I just have one question, Mike. Is that gonna, especially Bailey and probably by the college also, is that gonna be striped by the school year? Because
Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing Ruger Street, and Thursday night, we're doing Bailey.
I know Bailey it's a pretty congested street.
Yeah, no, it's, that was high and listen part. We push those right through.
Great.
You'll see the county start going through the city. They'll be doing the mainline striping. They did do the Ruger Street for me. But they'll start picking off streets. They use us as filler work, which works out well when if say it's raining in Churubusco and they can't pave on Churubusco, they're gonna paint in the city of Plattsburgh. And that seems to have worked well with that plan. The tricky one is going to be the epoxy contract, the arrows, the onlys, the bike symbols. Those, we awarded a contract, they're waiting on their paint. And there's a shortage of that. So we could be till probably September sometime. We'll just fit it in. And that's usually, he does it at night, most of it anyway.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Andrew, give you a quick update on Cogan or answer any questions you have about that, unless you have anything more for me.
Anyone else?
As Andrew does make his way up here, a number of us have spoken about Margaret Breakerhoff and Court Street. I've reached out to a number of design engineering firms who have either done work for the city or looking to do work for the city to present some type of proposal, not only a plan for those streets, but also a level of significant public engagement considering the impact of developing and designing those streets will have in our downtown and our core business district, as well as Center City. So once we have those proposals that come forward, we'll likely have them come and present to the council and make some determination on how to move forward with those funds to both pay for the design, engineering, planning, and ideally begin construction sometime would come out of some of the funds that we got from the additional funds that we got from New York State for infrastructure improvements.
Cogan Avenue. Luck Brothers is about, I'd say, close to 50% complete. Water line has been completed. Service lines have been attached to the water line. The old water main has abandoned and been filled with flowable fill. They are starting to put structures in for stormwater management. And they'll continue to do that for the next couple of weeks, and then they'll start tearing the surface of the road apart and putting in sub-base, moving to curbs, asphalt, sidewalk. We will have probably a little bit of a delay on signalization for crosswalks across Route 3. That seems to be one of the biggest lead times for any contractor right now is anything to do with signalization. So we'll push through and have a nice paved road by October. Any questions? Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 2.4, discussion on yard waste.
Yeah, so earlier this year, there was a proposal to redesign, reconfigure, and charge for yard waste. Understandably, charging for yard waste is a bit of a controversial topic. However, there did seem to be an attitude on the council and the public to ensure that we started to move, at least start to move away from plastic product to collect yard waste in conversations with both Mr. Bissett and Dean. We found some language in our current code that already outlines the ability to change the collection container for this type of rubbish. And we're looking at not only just gauging from the council continued attitude, but also starting to think through what does that look like moving forward, especially coming out of a summer season, moving into a fall season where yard waste pickup will increase, as it always does. We live in on a planet where the leaves fall off the trees. And we want to not only ensure that the collection of this yard waste is efficient for our workers, but also that we're not trying to add more waste to the landfill. With that being said, there was a number of conversations early on in the year about the type of container to collect these in. Whether it be paper, craft paper product, or a compostable or biodegradable, quote unquote, plastic product. It seems that there are enough products out there to start to move in that direction. The paper products are pretty straightforward. They look like paper. The plastic products, from my understanding, as it's been explained to me and from what I've seen, is that as long as they're clearly marked compostable, clearly marked biodegradable, they would be qualified as a container for which people can place their yard waste in. Otherwise, there have to be some other mechanism for collecting that yard waste or leaving it until it does get transferred into a compostable product, if you will. This is not a change that we're looking at doing next week. Obviously we want to get some type of structure around it so that it makes sense for everybody to make that transition. But we are going to be looking at doing a strong public information campaign to ensure that people understand that we are going to be moving away from just plastic products for yard waste.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
We call them plastic, biodegradable plastic bags.
Yeah.
They're not actually plastic. They do
Correct.
look like plastic bags.
Correct.
So yeah, that could create a problem. You're right.
Yeah,
Make sure that they are the correct type.
correct. And which is why there are products out there that on the bag itself, it's either a green bag with white writing or on a plastic bag, but it clearly says either biodegradable or compostable on the plastic type bags, like air quotes here, but on the plastic type bags, because they are not plastic, but they do biodegrade and they do compost in a natural environment. They don't need a secondary process to compost or biodegrade. They will compost and biodegrade in place in the current structure that we use now. So. Okay.
Any other comments? Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving on to environmental. 3.1 draft resolution, authorize instrumentation preventive maintenance service for WRRF and WFP contract extension, first of two possibly.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
You want to explain it a little further?
So we use services of a private contractor to calibrate and maintain all of our instrument controls at the wastewater plant and drinking water treatment plant. It gets put out for bid every 3 years. It's for a 1-year term with possibility of 2 1-year renewals. So got put out the bid a little over a year ago, was awarded, and there's been mutual agreement between us and the contractor to extend that term for a year at the same price that they bid originally.
These are quarterly?
They usually come up every 3 months. If there's an emergency or something that's not working right, they'll come when we need them to.
Yeah, just one other thing I wanted to bring up about it is that we, are either they put these out to bid or, that we're always still searching for the lowest prices, right? I mean, sometimes it's the same one that was bid on the first time, which I think in this case it is. But I just wanted to make sure that we let the public know that we're always looking to do these things as economically as possible with good service, obviously.
Yes.
Where is Temp Press located?
I think they're coming out of the Rochester area, somewhere in between Syracuse and Rochester. So, but, if we need them, they're on the road, they're up here. Usually a individual instrument doesn't need an emergency response, but we do have programmable logic controllers, basically computers that monitoring all the alarm systems. If one of those goes down or has a glitch, we need immediate response to that. They're here and they deal with it, whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thanks. Any further discussion on this? Item? If not, entertain a motion to, we have a motion to bring it to the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item is moved to the regular agenda. 3.2 Drinking Water Infrastructure Improvements Project, CDM Smith, Amendment 3, Phase 1, Additional Engineering Services.
Motion. Second.
This one's exciting. Discussion?
I don't know about this.
What's that?
This is exciting.
Yeah. So we're basically in the process of undertaking $20 million worth of upgrades to the drinking water treatment system. We've broken it into 4 approximately $5 million phases. And this amendment to an agreement is going to be to do the electrical investigation for the work that's going to be needed in phase 2. At the drinking water treatment plant. A little bit in phase 1, we're looking at putting an emergency generator out there in phase 1, and phase 2 is more of an upgrade to the entire electrical system out there. So this will really cover both of those phases.
Any further discussion? This is exciting. Yeah.
Makes me happy.
I know, that's something that always comes up with water, people go, why do we pay for that? We just turn the faucet and it comes out.
Yeah.
It's just-
That's why we pay for it. Turn the faucet on next time and have it not come out.
As you know, there's been a lot of talk about infrastructure money coming down the road, which is great. In years past, there wasn't much, and we kept hearing from state and federal officials that water's not sexy. Well, you ever interested in a PowerPoint presentation to prove otherwise? I can give you one sometime.
Yeah.
Because it is sexy.
Whoa, dude.
Okay, there being no further discussion, all in favor of moving this item to the regular agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you, John.
Okay,
John.
this is Under the mayor, this is authorize an amendment to commercial lease with Champlain Valley Transportation Museum.
Make a motion. Second. As part of the ongoing discussion with CBTM, trying and ongoingly supporting their operations, we are reducing the footprint of their facility based on mutual conversation. They just don't need the entire, they don't need the entire footprint of what they're currently leasing. So we are looking at carving off a portion of the property that they're not using, reducing their footprint to what they are using, and then this does require an amendment to the lease.
Okay, is there any discussion on this item? I read through this, there was one question I had, I can't remember if they still owed the MLD electrical.
It's the city, they owe the city some money for a.
But that's, I know that's separate from this, but I was just.
No, they paid in full their MLD bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember. it
That
was
happened
happening.
early on in the year that got sorted.
They're gonna use one of their vehicles as collateral. Can you explain that?
So I can jump into that. We have a security agreement with the Transportation Museum for their big picture guarantee on their lease payments. That security agreement, from my perspective, in 2021 does not adequately protect the city because the collateral listed is essentially museum paraphernalia. So the intent behind that portion of the resolution was to get something of higher value in an attempt to protect the city so that they can eventually repay that debt that they owe the city.
Okay, thank you.
Well, hopefully it's worth it to say. But in any event, hopefully we can get that cleared up because this money's been out there for a while. I remember when I first started on the council, it was out there. So any other discussion on this item? Councilor Kelly, you look deep in thought.
Well, yeah, when you first came on the council, this was an issue. I remember this being an issue when Mayor Kasperzak was mayor. So that's going back a long way. I hope we can get it resolved.
Very good. Is there any further discussion? If not, we can proceed to vote to move this to the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carried. Draft resolution further affirming negative declarations for annexation pursuant with State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Motion. Second. As part of the finalization of the annexation at Reeves Lane, this piece reaffirms the negative declaration for the seeker review, or for the seeker, which, you know, after we affirm that negative declaration, our kind of signal goes back to the town board and they move forward with their processes on their end. And this is just a reconfirmation of what this council has already declared from the previous seeker review. Seeker, I should say. I keep saying seeker review.
Yeah, it's confusing wording because there's nothing negative about it. It means everything is good.
Correct, right.
Okay, any discussion on that item? I think we're pretty well just start that. All in favor of moving this agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. All right. 4.3 draft resolution to adopt various updated compliance policies.
Second. As part of our, as part of our internal review of a number of compliance policies required for DOT projects, these are updates to those compliance policies non-discrimination policies and other various MWBE policies, which needed to be updated, and here they are to be voted on. We've updated them consistent with the typical policy that we would normally adhere to. Pretty straightforward otherwise.
Yes, it was a lengthy read.
It's lengthy. If you took the time to read through it, yes, it was dense.
Okay, is there any further discussion on that item? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Move to the agenda. 4.4, approval of short-term use of the crate for events.
Motion.
Second, I'll make second.
Thank you. Similar to what we've done with the field use policy, venue rental, similar in vein, this is a similar policy to allow for the CDO office to approve short-term contracts, paid short-term contracts for the Crate Center. And there are a number that are coming through at this point. I know certainly of one that's certainly coming through for is it like a children's craft
Assignment.
Yeah, something like consignment. It's a short-term 1 or 2 day rental of the Crate Center.
Yeah, hopefully we would get more use of that, especially in the summer. I think it's it's idle most of the time.
Mhm.
It'd be great if some people would
Yeah.
want to do something there.
Yeah, our assumption this year was that because people didn't know, we've used the Crate Center a number of times for events. But because of, obviously because of COVID, people didn't know if they were going to relaunch their event. And so nobody planned. And so here we are, midway through the year with very little events.
Did Comic-Con say anything? Are they gonna do anything?
I haven't heard from them. But they have, again, same kind of similar situation where they've hosted events at the Crate before, and this year haven't heard anything. So
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we can proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is moved to the regular agenda. Any new business?
Have one quick question for you, Mayor. It looks like we're entering what is now being called phase 4 of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I just wonder if your office has thought about or is discussing how we as a city are going to deal with this.
yeah, so just as always, we take cues from Clinton County Clinton County Health Department. Sometimes we do take cues from Clinton County Health Department as well. We'll take cues from Clinton County Health Department. I even just had an email exchange this morning with Director Canosa regarding what we have seen as an increase in cases, local cases. Also right in the news, just a neighboring county, Chittenden County in Vermont has had a significant increase in their COVID cases as well. We are tracking it, and as we start to see these cases uptick, part of the justification is that we're out and about, summertime, we're hanging out with friends, we're barbecuing at home, we're partying, lack of a better term, right? We are, and it hasn't helped. Even part of the tracking internally is when we have large events like the 4th of July. We did see an uptick in cases after the 4th of July.
Here in Clinton County?
Here in Clinton County, that's right. Not a significant amount. I think when we went into 4th of July, we had 4 cases. 2 weeks later, pretty much the exact timing for when we should see lab tested cases. I think we had like 13 or 14. Again, confirmed that was because of barbecues and large events, and something that we understand are kind of spreaders in that sense. Unfortunately, in speaking with Canosa, there's no local North Country lab that tests for the Delta variant, although it is assumed that that variant is alive and well everywhere in the world, and it should be. I think that there's going to be some type of threshold that's defined, yet to be defined by the health department in New York State that says, hey, if we reach a certain level of cases per 1,000, just as we go into a different set of or different mode of protection. So, but we are monitoring it. It's something that we look at every day when we get the numbers and kind of track it that way.
Do you know what percentage of the city's employees are vaccinated?
I don't know what percentage of city employees are vaccinated, and I know that there are people that are not vaccinated in the city, employees, and we're also looking at New York State in terms of can we prevent people from coming to work or not, or even if we want to even entertain that kind of conversation. I know that that even more than saying you need to be vaccinated is probably more controversial than requiring vaccinations, let alone requiring people to come to work.
Just in watching the news, I noticed that some municipalities in the Northeast are actually talking about requiring employees to be vaccinated. I don't think we're at that point, but that is going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and again, we've watched it. We see it on the news. We read the reports from NICOM on municipalities that are, and even private businesses that are saying not vaccinated, stay at home, right? And
yeah,
but again, I don't. It's a little heavy-handed, and
it
I
is.
think my office gets enough calls on potholes, let alone telling people don't come to work if you're not vaccinated. But yeah.
Imagine
I'll forward you the voicemail.
Imagine telling the public in a few short weeks that you're gonna have to remask.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put those masks on and start wearing them out in public again. That could very well happen.
It could very well, and I think that we've gotten to this comfort level of not wearing masks, and part of the payoff, or the flip side of that is an increase in cases, right? So
Yeah, I admire children who still wear masks.
Yep.
They haven't been vaccinated and they're following the rules and they seem comfortable with it.
Yep.
They're pretty good role models for the rest of us, I think.
I just had a couple quick things and I really not looking for an answer or getting into it too much, but I was, a few days ago, I was walking down Don Alley and
yes.
There's some chunks. Looks like the kind of stuff that people could trip on. I just wondered if we could look at it. I'm not trying to suggest anything beyond that.
May I? We legit just had this conversation today.
Great.
About Don Alley.
So,
It's the same thing I told Mike and the same thing that I told some of the owners on that street, and as well as what's it, Gold Street, which is another small alley downtown. Yes, we're aware of some of the problems there. Those roads are not covered under CHIPS. So if we do pave those come out of the general fund, which we're willing to do, but we just have not budgeted for this year. So we are looking at next year to budget for paving those roads. I don't even call them roads. They're one-way alleys that fit a truck at best. Right?
yeah, I think it's more traveled by happy people taking a shortcut back to the Yeah, it's more, I think, more pedestrian oriented than vehicles.
It's, I wish I had how we got to the point of owning those. At one point in time, I believe on the Castle Jack administration, Don Allen was taking over Gold Street. There's sewer access that we have that travels underneath the buildings on Market Street. We have to have access to back there. Gold Street, we don't currently maintain as far as plowing goes, but we are back there on I want to say a bi-weekly basis, monitoring and treating sewer. Don Allen, we do a lot of the winter time, and it's very difficult. So we're gonna have to surface those at some point.
Very good, thanks. And I just had one thing, don't want an answer now because it's
Definitely don't
not,
want
it's
to
not
answer
really
that.
our group.
Yeah.
But somebody had asked me if there was zoning codes for colors of buildings. I don't know of any such thing, but.
As far as I know, they only have those in the Adirondack Park.
Someone did
No.
mention to me,
Is this because of Euro?
yes. Yeah,
It's on Oak Street.
I've gotten comments about the mural.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't have an answer.
Okay.
I'm not looking for an answer.
Okay, I
It's
got
on
you.
the spot.
Next to
Okay.
Campus.
Somebody had asked that.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Ray?
Is there any other new business?
No.
If not, I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
That was second by Kelly. And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,